And well, in the last 3 years, I've had a lot of, like, I was part of a lot of projects that were around document generation, and I saw a lot of the pain points. And one of them definitely was about collaboration, and exactly also like the current times we're facing, collaboration becomes more and more important, effectively using Microsoft Teams, not needing to switch from one window to another all the time from all the other systems. So I'm happy to introduce you today, like what's our solution for document automation, also for collaboration, how to foster that within Dynamics. So I don't know what, like the audience today, what technologies you're using, but technically, so our demo, the part of today, the most part of today will be a live demo, and then I will be showing something from CE, FO, BC, and also SharePoint. So I hope there will be something for everyone. Good, and I see that now it's noon. Well, at least where I'm at. For most people, it might be 10 in the morning or 11, but I think it's time to start. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm going to turn off the camera for now. If you have questions anytime during the session, please feel free to post them, and otherwise I'll leave some time at the end as well for answering your questions.
Thank you, Lisa, and looking forward to your session.
Thank you. So you should be able to see my presentation now, my PowerPoint. So before we get started and before we start with the content, just wanted to say that we really love the D365 community. Like, we've been part of so many meetups now, of so many sessions. Like this one in London, we even got a chance to meet Darth Vader, which was really, really cool. And actually the last event that was possible to have in person, that was great to meet the community there. Then we were part in Munich, like I think that was 2018. Back then, that was also a really great event. We were in Brussels last year. We took part in the Dublin event. We also were in Zurich. And then that's in Munich as well. And also in Amsterdam was this one. So we're always happy to be part of the community, that we can contribute a little bit of what we do and hopefully give you some ideas on how to solve some challenges of document automation. And when we look at those pictures, a few of them have something in common. Here we see a Star Wars Lego. Here we see a Lego. And down there we see a Lego and smiling people on there. So what it means is that we always give out prizes, and we always give out a Lego as a prize. And we also do that for today. So you can win one of those Lego sets, and that will be in the prize draw among all the attendees. And I think Russ knows more details about that, how you can receive it, but it will be among all the attendees that you can win a Lego set. But so much about that. Let's look at what we're gonna focus on in today's session. So first of all, we're gonna start with an introduction on document automation. Like, why do we need it? What are the challenges and how can you solve them? And of course, I'll introduce you to Docs42 so that you know what we're actually doing. And then I will do a lot of live demos. So I will generate a sales proposal from Teams, also sales quote. I will show you the template design and how you can collaborate on that. FO documents from Microsoft Teams, some SharePoint documents will be there as well. And then I could also show you BC if there's enough time. This will not be from Teams, but also to show you that it's possible with Docs42 as well. And then, of course, questions and answers. Great, so let's get started. What are structured documents? So Docs42 and document automation is there. It's needed for structured documents. So basically, you within your company, within your organization, you would be using various systems where you store all different kind of information. That might be Teams, and in the background, it might be the SharePoint, like SharePoint list integration. That might be Dynamics CE, BC, that might be FO, but also SQL databases or Excel documents. That's where many companies store their information. And then based on that information, every day, a lot of documents need to be generated. That could be, for example, invoices, that could be job confirmations, that could be emails, that could be sales presentations. Here we have a sales quote, a sales report, a lot of documents that are generated in companies on a daily basis. Documents are so essential. However, in our experience, for a lot of companies, document generation is a really big pain point. And let's have a look at how document generation looks like in real business life. So in a lot of companies, in a lot of cases, it's done by copy pasting. I'm also guilty of that copy pasting. I've done that in the past, and it's actually our biggest competitor because it's flexible and individual. It's a lot of what customers are doing. However, if you need to generate, for example, 10, 15, 20 documents a day, it's really cumbersome. It takes a lot of time. It's costly because a person, like a human resource, costs a lot of time if they have to focus on copy pasting. And it's slow, and it's only 9 to 5. And it can be really frustrating for business users to generate the documents like that. Then there are companies that do some automation, and that's usually done with macros, VBA, with apps. That is as well flexible and individual, and you have automation there, and you start reducing errors. Because if you're copy pasting, errors occur. It's just a statistical necessity. It happens to all of us. When you're using a macro, it doesn't happen really anymore, or not in that large scale, but you still have low numbers on the document generation. It's only client-based once again. It's 9 to 5. And the problem is, if the person that has set up the macro leaves your company, who is going to take care of that? Like, there you might run into big troubles if the one that set up the macro is not there anymore to help you update and work with it. And then there's big automation scenarios like the standard SSIS reports. Like, for example, the ones of you that are working with finance operations are surely familiar with with SSIS reports. You have server-side automation for your documents, so you can create tons of invoices, for example. With that, it runs 24/7 and you have high performance. However, it's not flexible and individual anymore. So first of all, the documents are not appealing. You can't really work really nice on a nice corporate identity, on a nice looking document. So they're ugly, and just doing some updates, changing something. For example, if your logo changes, that means a lot of programming. It's costly again, it takes a lot of time. And then for the business users, it's not really satisfying to have, in the end, to still not have a document that's nice looking. And also data integration, that's also a big challenge there, because like Microsoft is like focusing on like the common data service. They're focusing on a platform approach. So for example, you have some data within that you store in your CRM, but also some data which you store in FO, and you might want to integrate them within your documents, but it's hardly ever possible with the standard tools, so you can't really integrate other data sources. So all of those three are really struggles that companies face on a daily basis when it comes to document creation. Then there are some possibilities on a Microsoft platform. There are some technical options. So if we start with Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365, what it's called nowadays, like with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, it is standalone and flexible, and it's also no code, and you can design attractive documents. But once again, you can't have many data sources, and the server-side automation goes missing. Same for the mail merge. It's no code, it's flexible, but again, document design or the adoption of many data sources is missing. And it goes like all the way down, where you have some advantages, but then, for example, for the SQL Server reporting, there's always a lot of like programming involved, which you need to do to set up and change your documents. And like with Docs42, we've developed a solution where on the one hand, it's possible to create like in a standalone way, flexible and individually documented in attractive design, and you have the server-side automation as well. And I'm going to introduce that to you within my live demos today. Good, then to put a little bit into context of Docs42 and the document generation. So so we, in our experience, when it comes to document automation, there are three parties involved. So that's usually the IT, that's the business, and then there's marketing. The IT is there to know about the data integration. Where do I have my data stored? Is it in CE? Is it in FO, BC? Am I using Power Automate? All of that. But the business and the marketing, like the business knows about the content that should be in the document, that know about some certain condition, like for example, if we take legal documents, like a certain paragraph should be included, should not be included. And then the marketing knows about the corporate identity, about the logo, because we shouldn't forget that documents are a way of communicating to our customers. So it's important that we have the corporate identity and our visual CI also visible on our documents. In most approaches, it's not really possible to put all three of them together on a table and to work on a document generation project. We with Docs42, our mission is to empower the business user, and that's done with a document design within Microsoft Office, so Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So business users can easily adjust and design templates, and the IT is in the background doing all the data structures. Like that, everyone focus on their main expertise and the core areas, and everyone should be happy in the end. That's at least our philosophy. Good, then Docs42, so we really focus on document generation. We are a company, we're founded in Vienna. We have our headquarters in Vienna, and we work with around 355 customers at the moment, and we have 85 partners worldwide that are implementing our document generation solution with our customers. As I mentioned, the document design for us is very important, that it's intuitive. So it's a Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and then the flexible integration. So integration within Teams, Dynamics, SharePoint, all the Dynamics platform is possible, and also the document output possible in various different formats. Down here you can see some of our reference customers. We operate in nearly every industry, and we have customers of all different sizes. Need to know. Good, and then just two examples of how our customers are using Docs42. Like for example, ABB, they are using Docs42 in their global sales and services platform. So they generate all the service reports with Docs42. They have like these huge machines, and if something happens to the machines, if there's an error, a service employee goes there, they have an iPad with them to take some pictures, to do some notes, that is uploaded to Dynamics 365 CE. And then afterwards, they are generating a presentation, like a service report with Docs42 that's integrating data from CE and also from that service report, and also those pictures the employees made live at the customer's premises. Other examples is offers, orders, invoices, project management reports, contracts, and so on. Nearly any structured document you could think of. The second scenario I'm just going to briefly introduce is the Rewe Group in Germany, and they are doing all their internal orders with Docs42. They have an NAV system in the background, and they generate all the order documents. So everything you can purchase in a Rewe supermarket in Germany was ordered with the Docs42 document in the background. So that's just a few of the examples that are possible with Docs42. And then what we will also see in the live demo today, but to give you an introduction here as well, this is our template design, how it looks like. So you can really easily design your templates within Microsoft Office. And then you can see a lot of blue fields here. Those are the Docs42 data fields, the placeholders, so to say. And we can see that we can integrate textual data into our documents, but we can also, of course, integrate pictures. There are dynamic graphs, for example, that are integrated. And down here, we have some tables that expand automatically, so dynamic tables, so to say. That's also really important in a lot of documents, for example, in invoices, in sales orders, sales quotes, which I'll show you in a live demo in a second as well. So that's the document design, and here the generated document. And then very importantly, the data integration that can come from various sources without programming. So for example, our sales quote of today, we take the customer data from CRM, from CE, but then we also have some more information about the project which we want to integrate into the quote that's coming from SharePoint. So you can always integrate various data sources one with each other into one document. Good. Then the data integration, of course, very importantly, is done without any programming. Even, for example, if you automate documents that are based on SSIS reports from FO, the design within Word with Docs42 is completely done without programming. And then within Microsoft Word, you connect to your data sources, and then in the second step, you just simply drag and drop them into your document. So we really want to make it easy for the customers to use Docs42 and to design and work on their templates. Good. Then what we use as a powerful tool in between, so never underestimate the power of Excel. I know a lot of people and a lot of companies are still using Excel, and we do as well. So for example, we have some graphs in Excel, and we can make them dynamic, for example, with data from CE. So we have some sales data, we make them dynamic, we initialize it with our graphs in Excel, and then afterwards we integrate those graphics back into our documents and then they change the look depending on which data you gave at the time of generation. So that's another possibility. So it's really powerful. So you have a lot of powerful options on how you can make really documents that add value automatically. QR codes, barcodes are another big topic. For example, on invoices with Docs42, you can also integrate them, and we have like 20 or 30 different ones in the standard. And if anyone from Switzerland is joining, they have introduced the Swiss QR code now, and it's of course also possible to generate with Docs42. And then the output management, very important, and we will see a lot of that in the live demo now today. So of course you can generate documents with the standard Office outputs. It can also of course be PDF, and then you can store, for example, documents automatically back to a Microsoft Teams channel, which will do that. It can be a SharePoint channel. You can generate your document and send it out via email. You could generate draft emails, signing with DocuSign, no problem at all. So we provide a lot of flexibility there. And if the standard functionalities are not enough for you, there's even also the possibilities to always have some custom output management, to have some custom output action where you can, for example, generate a document and put it in your own archiving system. So we try to be as open as possible and as flexible as possible so that Docs42 fits exactly your needs and your scenario. Good. And then the cloud, of course. So Docs42, the server is available on premise, but of course also online. We integrate with all the cloud platform, all the cloud tools, and we're using Azure Active Directory impersonation. So all the security, of course, Microsoft is AAD compliant. You can always see who generated the documents. No data is ever visible on the server, and you have 100,000 documents included per month. So I hope your scenario is invoices, because if you have 100,000 invoices a month, that would be a nice thing to do. Good. And then Docs42 and MS Power Automate, of course, that's possible too. We also integrate with that. So automatically, whenever an update is done, the documents are generated. I'm going to show that live to you today as well. And yeah, that was the theory part. Let's jump into the live demo. And I've prepared a lot for today's live demo for you today. So of course, we're going to do all of that within Microsoft Teams. And I'm just first going to start with a sales proposal and then with a sales quote. That will integrate data from CE and from SharePoint. Next, I will show you the template design and how you can collaborate on that, how that's possible. Then how you can also use SO in Teams. Then I've also prepared a short demo of how you can also use SharePoint data for HR documents from Teams. And then in the end, if there's enough time, I can also show you VC document generation, how that's working. Good. And to set into context my scenario of today, so to give a little bit of an idea, the scenario, so we have a sales team, and there's the sales team manager, Selina, and then there's the account manager, Claudius. They are working on an opportunity. Their company is Solar Panels Deluxe, Solar Power Deluxe, and they're selling solar panels, so really complex products, which require a lot of information to be sent when you send an offer to your customer. Then there's Michaela. She's the customer. She's interested in our products, in our solar panels, and she wants to receive first a sales proposal, so she gets an overview and can discuss it internally, and then later on a sales quote, of course. And then, so let's get back to Claudius and Selina. How do they manage like the data and like how do they capture the information of Michaela's project? Of course, they're using D365 CE. This is where they store the opportunity. This is where they store the quote, all of that information there. Then, since I mentioned that it's quite a complex project, they are, of course, also using SharePoint in the background. So all the whole sales team can work within the SharePoint as well. They're uploading all relevant documents that are necessary for the project in there. And then to collaborate one another, because of course they're at the moment, they've been working from home office as well. They need to keep in touch about the project. Everything should be in one central place. They are using Microsoft Teams. And then they are also using Docs42. And with Docs42, they are generating the sales proposal and the sales quote, and then send it via email automatically to Michaela Mitarbeiter, first the PowerPoint and then also the PDF. And they do that all within Microsoft Teams. And let me show you now how that actually works. So I'm going to jump into my Teams now. I'm just going to refresh to make sure everything's live. And here I have my sales team in here, and I can start chatting something, and I can say, so for example, I would be Claudius for today. I will say, hi, it's Selina. I'm generating. If it wasn't a Saturday today, Selina surely would reply, but she's off, she's enjoying her weekend, so no reply today. So I'm just gonna give a like myself. Good, but what Claudius, or me in that case, is doing right now, he wants to generate the sales proposal, and he doesn't need to leave Teams for that. So he just goes in here to his Solar Panels Proposal tab, which is a D365 CE tab, and which includes all the information. In that case, it's an opportunity about the project, about Michaela's project. So here we can see it's Michaela. Here she's the customer. That's her email address. We have the current situation, which we specified in here, like the customer need and so on. If we look at the product line items, so that's what we're going to propose to the customer. We have 3 products here, so the panel holder, battery, and the solar panel, and all the information that's relevant for our scenario. Now, Claudius wants to generate the presentation, and all he's doing now is he goes to generate proposals up here, and then he says generate PowerPoint. And now Docs42 is generating a PowerPoint presentation with including all the information about the proposal, and in that case we'll return it to us in our browser up here. So if I open that one, we have a presentation that was generated just with one click. I'm going to go in presenters mode, and we can see this is for Adventure CO. That's the company for Michaela. Michaela is the customer name. And then here we have some forward, we have our products integrated. Here we have some pictures. So this is Claudius' picture. This is actually coming from SharePoint. This picture is also coming from a SharePoint data source. I'm going to show that to you later in the template, how that worked. And up here we have a logo that's coming from CE. If you go further down, we have some reference customers with logo coming from CE. We have the situation that's specified down here, the current situation, need and the proposed solution coming from CE. So the text up here is coming from CE, and the picture down here is coming from SharePoint. The products are in here. So we have some pictures, we have a table in here exactly with the quantity and the prices, and even a discount field is added here, panel holder, the battery, all of that's integrated, some technical specifications. So we have a PowerPoint slide added on how to actually insert those, on how to actually install the solar power. And that was actually a separate PowerPoint slide that was stored on SharePoint. That was really integrated into the presentation I've generated just now. And here, contact site of Claudius with a QR code and with some pictures there. That's how the presentation looks like, and Claudius just had to click one button to get this presentation personalized for Michaela generated. Let's say he really likes that presentation, so he goes back, he's done with the preview. He could also generate a PDF if he wanted to, but let's say he really liked it, so he's sending it straight away to Michaela. So he clicked on send email, and now Docs42 is generating the presentation again and will send it as an email to Michaela Mitarbeiter. So she will receive an email with a nice text, personalized text done by Claudius Cloud, and the presentation in the attachment. So if we have a look at Michaela's inbox, then we can see, hello Michaela, like here for Adventure CO. So the email body, of course, is personalized. The picture is there as well from Claudius. This is because the email body, the email text, was also a Docs42 Word template. So there was a Word template, and in the attachment, once again, we can find the presentation that's sent to Michaela. And of course, what's really cool in here, because because Claudius and his manager Selina, they have to keep having the overview of what has happened and what Claudius has done and sent out to the customer. So what has happened here, if I go back to my general overview, this email was also sent to my Teams channel. So everyone can see I've generated my presentation, and that was sent to Michaela. Here you can see that's exactly how we specified it in my template, and we can even download the original email. And then let's say Michaela really liked it, so she just replies and says, yeah, this is me. Good. Michaela can just do that and sending the email, and with that she also replied to the Teams channel. So we have the Teams channel included here, and then everyone can oversee the customer communication. So really everyone's up to date and can collaborate, and everyone could take on at that point. So it's great. Please send me a quote. She wants to have the quote. Good. So the next step after the proposal is to generate the quote. That happens in a very similar scenario. So I go to my solar panels tab, which is the D365 CE quote in that regard. And as I mentioned, so here again, we have the 3 products, we have the customer information and so on. But as I mentioned before, solar panels are quite, I just received a notification that my network connection is bad, but I hope you can still hear me well. If not, please shout or send something in the chat. Back to the scenario. So our solar panels, they're quite complex. So we have our 3 products in here, but to send a quote, it's not enough to just include those 3 products without any further explanation. It's just not enough. So usually for such complex products or projects, a whole team is involved, the whole project team. There might be someone from sales, of course, involved, like for example, Claudius. Then there might be someone like a technician involved that's actually calculating how much it will cost and how many hours it would be to install the solar panels at the customer's premises. Then there might be someone from marketing involved, really looking to make a special offer for the customer. So there's usually a big team involved. And how can we collaborate also here within Microsoft Teams on that? So what we've done is, so have a look here. Here we have our quote ID, that's the name. And what we've done is that we've set up a folder within SharePoint that has exactly the same quote ID. And of course, since Teams integrates with SharePoint, we can open that directly from here, from our Teams tab. Then we have the quote modules, and this is my folder. And within that folder, my whole team was able to upload all the documents that are relevant for the project that should be included in the quote. For example, we have a project plan, we have an Excel document up here. This is the technician that actually just notes down how much it would cost to integrate the to install the solar panels. He said 12 hours to show you that it's live data. I'm gonna say this is 15 hours, which is needed. So that's the one. Then the next one is a cover letter. So someone from marketing really wants the quote to look appealing for the customer, give some information if there's a lot of sunshine hours. So they've uploaded a Word document. Then there's again the solar presentation, a PowerPoint slide, so that explains how to connect everything. That should be part of the quote of the offering as well. And then we have a small advertisement for marketing that if the customer purchases within 7 days, they'll get a special discount. So all of that information is relevant for our scenario. And now me as the salesperson, I just go back to my solar panels, to my tab, and know that my team has prepared everything, everything's ready to go. I now need to generate the quote, and I'm going to do that in the same way. I'm just going to go generate documents, and then I'm going to go on return PDF quote. I'm going to do that. Oh, wait, no, what I'll do is, because I want to have everyone involved knowing what is happening, I'm generating the quote and I'm going to store it automatically to my Teams channel. So once again, everyone's in the loop on what is actually happening and that I've set up my quote. And we will then see within the quote, which I'm going to open in a second, that we will for once have those my data here from my quote inserted, like the discount and the product, but we'll also have the other documents inserted. And where do I find my generated document now? Up here in my sales quotes tab. This is where we specified it that it should be saved. And here I have my quote for the solar panels that was generated just now by me, because we're using Azure Active Directory. So then I know that this was generated by me. And if I open my quote document, I can see my document here. So we have my customer data. Here is my first Word document that was inserted. If I scroll down, I have a table in here. I have my Excel file, which we've seen, which is now 15 hours. So you see that it was live data that was integrated. And further down here, I have my PowerPoint presentation and also my Word document inserted. And once again, me as the end user, I just had to click one button. However, I see there's something I don't like. So I see I have the sales quote 4. First of all, this is in red. And secondly, it doesn't contain the customer name. So I want to change and adjust it. And I'm not doing that within my generated document because I could have generated a Word document, but I wanted to set that up in my template so that if I'm generating documents in future, I can be sure that everything is in orange and that always the customer name is integrated. So I'm going to close that and I'm going to work on my template now. And with Docs42, you can store your templates within SharePoint Online. And in our case, also, you can call them from Microsoft Teams. And for example, you could set up a team, a new Teams channel, where only the people have access to that have the rights to set up and work on the templates. And I have the access and rights to it. So I go to Templates Designer. And here I have 3 tabs where I have all my different templates stored. And here I have my CRM sales templates. And here's my library with all the templates I have available. And one of them is my sales quote. So I can open that one. And now it opens my Word template, my Docs42 Word template. And then, for example, I could already start and adjust my template here and the coloring here within Teams, but I'm going to open it in my desktop app. So the whole, like the full functionality is always available in the desktop app. So this is downloading now directly from Teams, opening from Teams. I just need to quickly, because it's downloading my Word template and also the connection. And this comes from SharePoint. And now here I have my template. And instead of all the data, which we've seen before, we see a lot of blue data fields. And if I click on one blue data field, on the right-hand side, my Data Field Explorer opens. And I can see exactly where my data comes from. So in that case, it's a field called name that's coming from a D365 CE data source called organizations. If I go here, I can say it's also called name, but this is coming from SharePoint, and this is a type Word document, so it should be inserted as a Word document. Good, and how do I insert now new fields? So I know that I want the customer name here, and that's coming from organizations, and then I just simply double click, and now I have my customer name inserted. And here this is orange, the rest is red. I want to have it red, orange as well, so I just mark it, and then it will be orange. So we can see here everything is orange, and I'm just making sure that all is orange. So I just need my format painter. So all the formatting is done like really the way how you used to do it within Microsoft Office. Good. But before I explain you some more, let me quickly locally generate that presentation, the document. So if I go to Docs42, here I have all my functionalities for designing my templates, and I can also locally generate. So I click on Generate here, go on OK, and now Docs42 is connecting in the background with AAD, and now it's asking me which quote document I want to generate. So it pulls me all the live data from my CE. I say it's the solar panels, and then I click Generate, and now it will return my document here within Word, and it will include the name as well, and the 4 is orange instead of red in our case. Great, we can see that, and I'm going to view the documents side by side so we can see a little bit better what has happened. So here, this block up here with all my data fields, we've seen that they've turned into the address block. Or down here, this one field turned into the Word document. Or if we scroll further down, here we have our table. And here we have 3 lines because we have 3 products. But here in the ready, in the template, we see that we only have 1 line with data fields. And this is how we set up a dynamic table. We work with repeated sections. And here we have a repeated section, so it's always marked with this sign. If I go on automated range, I can see it says, okay, so everything within my range here should be repeated for all data that comes from the data source order information. In our case, it was 3 rows, 3 products. That's why we have 3 lines in here. What we can also see in the tables that you can work with conditions. Like, for example, here we have in the template, we have freight, but in the generated document, we don't have a freight field. So here's a condition marked with that question mark. And if I go in automate range, I can see, okay, this whole line will only be inserted if the freight amount is not empty in the dynamic CE. Apparently it was empty, so it wasn't integrated. If we scroll further down, if I just double click, I see this is my Excel data source where this is coming from. Or down here, if I just have a click, yeah, I can see that I've integrated a PowerPoint presentation. Good. That's my template. And I'm just going to close that one. I don't want to save that. And of course, to also show you where you insert those data sources, that's done in the data map. And here we see all my data sources I have available. I've mentioned in the beginning that we can integrate with any Dynamics platform, also with any other systems. So you can see if you had like SQL, you could integrate them Excel, web services, SharePoint, XML, JSON, and then of course CE, FO, BC, and also SAP in case someone's using that. And if we have a look, for example, here on my sales quote input, I can connect either with the username or password, or I can connect with Azure Active Directory. In our case, we're working with the config file. So I have my information, I click on connect, I have successfully connected, and then I could choose my entity, which is the quote entity in my case, my quote. And wait, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to delete anything. And here I can just simply select the fields I want to have available. And then I can always have a preview on what data is actually returned to me and what I can then pull into my document. Good. And once I've set that up, once I've saved that, I have all my data sources available here on the site. And that's how the template design looks like. And the cool thing is I'm closing that now. So I've updated my template, and it has also automatically updated here within my teams. So if I go back to my sales, and if I then go to my solar panels, and I now say, I'm going to regenerate the document, but beforehand, I'm also going to change the discount. 20% is a bit much. And let's say I'm going to give them 10% discount. I'm just going to save that. And then I'm regenerating my document. So I go to generate documents. So I have a lot of options here available still. Like, for example, I could generate it and then attach it to an entity. I could just return a docx document, or I say I want to return a draft email. I want to generate a draft email with the new sales quote in the attachment. That's possible as well. And we will see that the new template is already live. I say keep. And then here I have a draft email. Of course, that's all personalized as well, because this was a Docs42 Word template too that was generated as an email. And in the attachment, I have my sales quote document for Adventure CO, so everything in orange and the name included. And if I look down here, we have a 10% discount. And one more cool thing about that scenario, while I've done that, if I go now to my sales quotes, a flow was also triggered in the background. Microsoft Power Automate was triggered as soon as I changed the discount to 10%. It regenerated my document and stored it here within my library. And here I have my 10% discount added here. So anytime you do some adjustments or changing to your quote, you can always be sure that the current document, the latest document with all the changes is saved. Good, and that's that scenario. Just of course, to also show you all of this is possible with Microsoft Teams, but you don't necessarily have to use Teams for that. So you can also open that one from your Dynamics CE, from your browser, no problem at all. And you can also generate your documents independently from CE here as well within your browser. So here we have it returned. That was done without Teams. And then, of course, also your templates and your documents are also all available within SharePoint. If you, for whatever reason, don't use Teams yet or don't want to use it in that regard, it's possible independent as well. Good. And that's our scenario with CE. Then my second scenario, like, for example, imagine Michaela was like super happy with everything and she went ahead with the purchase and now she receives an invoice that's coming from FO. And the invoice was generated from finance and operations, but with Docs42, once again, you can store your documents within your teams. So then we have our channel here as well in our Teams channel, sales channel. We have another tab for sales invoices FO, and then we have the saved invoice that was actually generated from FO. But let me show you a live example of that as well, coming from FO, that you can actually see that we've really generated it with there. I have my FO open here, and I'm not, for that purpose, for that demonstration, I'm not going to do the sales invoice, but I'm going to generate a vendor sheet. Let's say for my vendor here, I want to generate a sheet for them. So I'm here within my finance and operations. And then I go here, I say I want to have my vendor overview with Docs42. Here I could choose what should be my medium, what do I want. I say, okay, print my report to SharePoint with that name and in a file format PDF. I say, okay. And in our case, now we're within finance and operations, so we have FO data. The report has been successfully printed. So now I have a look back into my sales invoice FO channel here within Teams, and I can see my vendor sheet has been generated. But once again, I see something I don't like. My template data is in red, so I want to adjust that. And also here it's the same story. I can go and open my FO templates here within Microsoft Teams. Here I have my vendor fact sheet and I can simply adjust it. And there's no SSRS, there's no coding, nothing required. I just go here and I update it here, even in the browser app. I make sure that it's saved, that it's updated. So I'm just double checking, oh, that was the wrong template. So I'm just double checking that it's really black here. So then I go back to my FO. And then here I can go once again on one vendor Docs42. That should be saved. I go on OK. The report is printed. It's processing the request. And then in a second, we will have it returned as a PDF with the black data back to our SharePoint with the updated template. And by the way, in that template from FO, we're using entity data. So this is really independent from an SSRS report. We have in the sales invoice example, which I can't show you today, but which we also have, we're using data from an SSRS report, but the whole design is in Microsoft Office. So, okay, now we have our presentation effect. So I'm just gonna try once again, if it allows me to regenerate in the Docs42. Maybe I'm just gonna go print on screen for the second, so it returns it to my screen, the document. and then we should have it here. It allows me to okay, looks like for whatever reason it doesn't allow me to, but you can believe me that you've seen it with CE before, that it also works with finance and operations data. Good, and then I have a few minutes left. I said I've prepared a lot for you. I know it's a lot of demos and a lot of scenarios, but I want to show you that also, for example, if you have a scenario where you're not using any of the Dynamics platform, where you're just using data from SharePoint, for example, that's also possible to generate with Docs42 and from Microsoft Teams. Like, for example, here we have our employee list. And here we have a SharePoint library, and I say I want to generate a list with the performance of all my team members. Then I just go here on Docs42. So this is actually a Docs42 app, a Docs42 SharePoint app, which we've launched. And then here I have my possibilities. I could say open a PDF list for my employees, open a PowerPoint, store my PowerPoint back to Teams. I'm just going to say open PDF list. So it's returning it to my browser here in a second. And here I have a PDF list of all my employees generated from Microsoft Teams. If I say, for example, I want to have this sorted, the highest achievers should be up. I want to include everything, but I'm not going to include the Dr. Cloud because he just reached 50%. I'm going to generate once again. And then here we can see that now everything is in one order. The document is generated, in our case, returned back to my screen. But of course, this could also have been saved back to Microsoft Teams. So it really allows you to collaborate on any document generation needs you have. It allows you to work together with the templates designers to collaborate and to chat with how their templates should be updated, what's happening in a project. It really gives you an overview of what really happens, and you don't need to have any manual effort to generate your documents, and you can do that all within Microsoft Teams. I see that we have a few minutes left, so also to quickly show you, because I mentioned that we can also do BC beforehand, I'll just quickly show you how the document generation works from there, because I know that usually at the D365 events we have a lot of BC users too. So I'm just gonna go quickly to my BC demo environment, and I'm gonna show you generate a document from here. Here I have my jobs page. And what I'll also do here is I have my reports, and then I'm gonna show you how a report looks like in the standard if it's done with BC and without Docs42. So if I go and preview job quote, I'm gonna get a report returned that looks like this. It's really not nice looking. I have like a table here, like the font is like really super old school, no logos. It's just not an appealing document, but this is going to be sent out to the customer. So this is how it works in the standard. But if you work with Docs42, you also just select it here, go to Docs42 action, say that Docs42 should generate the job quote. And now Docs42 is generating it and also will return it back to my screen, and we will see in a second that it's a much nicer looking document. So here we have some pictures integrated. So, and that's exactly the same data set we're using in the background. Here we have pictures, the whole team that's working on the project is integrated. Here we have our table that's nicer looking. Actually, this table down here comes with data from CE. So we've integrated the C data and CE data. And then further down here, we even have in landscape mode, we have a floor plan. And something small, but something I would maybe like to adjust because I don't really like what I see here is I could open my PowerPoint from here. And then I could just simply move my chair. I'm saving that. And then I'm regenerating my job quote. And then we will see that we have everyone sitting on the table, and we have the chair integrated here. So, and then down here again in portrait mode, the general terms and conditions inserted. Great, so that's all the live demos. I know a lot of content for you today, and let's recap a little bit on what I've shown you today and what's possible with Docs42. So basically the document automation, it solves a lot of challenges. It allows you to generate intelligent, high quality documents, because we shouldn't forget documents are a way of communicating with our customers, and we're generating so many documents each day. They should be intelligent and high quality. Then it saves you a lot of time and it allows you to collaborate, especially now in times where everyone's like dispersed, sitting in home office, sitting somewhere else. It really allows you to keep the overview also of your documents that are generated and what has happened within the project. The design is in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, also for your FO documents where you would be using a lot of code for SSIS usually in the background, all done in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and every business user is enabled to generate the documents themselves or to update the documents themselves. You get a lot of flexibility with all the different data sources you can integrate and where you can trigger it from. Then your corporate identity is very individual, so you can always make sure to have appealing and nice looking documents in your CI, even in your emails. And then we're following the Microsoft and ERP trends. As I've mentioned in the beginning, Microsoft is following that platform approach that you can use data from FO and from CE. Companies have both. And with Docs42, you don't need a separate document generation tool for each application. You can do it with just one. And yeah, questions and answer time for that, of course. And before we come to that, of course, feel free to put your questions in there. I just want to have two more announcements. We're global community partners, so we will be there at the next events as well on July 25, August 8th, and also in October. For the next documents, we would be happy if you joined us there as well. And before I come and answer the questions, I have prepared one more thing. So here are my contact details. Here's my LinkedIn, which you can scan, of course. And then I have a really cool statement of Darth Vader. Let's see what he says. So if Darth Vader said it, let's maybe take it forward. Good. And I can see, so feel free, if you have questions, please feel free to post them now. Otherwise, reach out to me anytime later on, add me on LinkedIn, send me a message. We'll be happy to discuss your scenario, show you some more personalized demos maybe, and you can always have a free trial with Docs42 for 30 days. A demo, of course, is possible too. And yeah, also don't forget that you can win the Lego, which I've mentioned in the beginning. So yeah, thank you definitely from my side.
Thank you, Lisa. And as Lisa mentioned, please make sure to fill in that form. The link has been posted on the Teams. So if you would like to win a prize, a nice Lego, please make sure you fill in that form to add yourself into the prize draw.
Okay.
I'm just monitoring chat window. We haven't got any more question, but if you do have any question, maybe afterwards, please feel free